cause it's my time. Battle for power in this old mind. No one will fight in this. It's a new era, yes, I come alive. Fuck to hell. You woke up the dragon. I run from none.
Okay, this thing is on. Our mic is red hot. Yeah, boy. Yeah, buddy. We are back yet again for another sort of clarification follow-up for Weaponized Comics Podcast. So they revealed this entire giant Phase 5 and Phase 6 slate for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm going to touch up briefly on how some of these things will connect and what to expect from a story and lore perspective, while also delving into some tail end news that I might have missed out on for the last podcast, because like I said before D23, news was pouring out crazy. Like, they were pouring out like news. I'm talking all over the place. They were like the fappening, just tits left and right. Ooh, titties need to be sucked on. But forget everything I said right there. I'm just saying that this is gonna set a crazy precedent for such a shorter phase, because I mean, last phase was like 10 years to the build up, and then we got Thanos. This one is like gonna be it's not gonna be 5 or 6 years. I think I got that wrong. It's gonna be like 3 to 5 years or 4 years before the multiverse saga is over. So it's gonna be a much shorter window before we wrap up and finally get Doctor Doom into the picture. Now, I mentioned Doom for a reason. The reason is because of this film slate, so we're gonna go over it. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I saw the teaser for this. I guess the tie-ins will be the fact that they are headed to the quantum realm, and they're going to be dealing with one of the variants of Kang the Conqueror, and that's going to be so fucking sick, because they're dealing with the evil variant of Kang the Conqueror this time around. It's not going to be the aloof, crazy Nimrod that was in Loki. They're dealing with the conquerors now, the guys who take shit serious, and they're dictators, dominators, etc. I don't know if it was intentional, if he was wearing metal armor in that teaser. It looked like he did. I'm assuming that maybe this construct will factor into Doctor Doom later in the timeline, and then they're gonna like use that technology to make his suit, because it looked way too similar, in my opinion, to his original costume, and that was kind of weird. Also, they said there's a reason why Kang doesn't have the blue tech on his face. I assume a stronger variant will have that, and once they kill Kang in this movie, and I assume he will die, stronger variants will take his place. The trailer looked dark, interesting, and I'm glad they're taking that sharp left turn into a more serious Ant-Man movie. Also, Hope Van Dyne having a more emotional arc in this film definitely shows, as well as the rest of the cast with this other world that they are on. I'm assuming this is Kang's home planet, a different home planet, so to speak, a variant Kang planet where everyone is enslaved, and they're seeing this downright depression all over the place from all of these people. I loved it. Scott on the floor bleeding, amazing imagery into a new dark world. Next we have Secret Invasion, and I said this is going to be all about the Skrulls taking over and being in secret, and Nick Fury trying to do things to figure out, hey, what are you guys doing? I think it's going to be more of a, pursuit show than anything, where they're trying to figure out what's going on, a little bit of mystery behind it, and how do we prevent these Skrulls from getting out of control. Next up is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and the teaser for this was very mighty sad. I'm talking downright depressing. You see Baby Rocket, obviously he's gonna get tortured and experimented on, and that's not gonna be a profound sight I don't think people are expecting that if they are non-comic book fans, but it's gonna happen. It seems that more or less this is gonna be a chapter that closes out that book, that sort of page on the Guardians as they resolve not only their origins, but the fact that maybe someone might bite the bullet. I know they said that all of them won't die, but I think someone will. Also the fact that there's the lingering storyline of Quill trying to get Gamora back in good graces again, because if you don't remember, in Endgame she died, and this is another variant from another timeline. I believe it's like 20 something. It was when the first Guardians happened, 2014. I forget when, but I know she was ripped out of that timeline. She doesn't know who Quill is. She's very confused. I think she called him Q-tip or something. I don't know, but there is that lingering plot line of him being in pain and suffering, and he's like screaming in the trailer. Like, imagine they pull some shit where like Gamora dies again, and even though he doesn't know her, he still loves her. It's like the reverse Christine Palmer effect. I love you in every universe. Well, you're gonna die in every universe. That's gonna break my heart, man. But they could do something like that. Drax, I said he might be on the chopping block because Dave Bautista was talking all that shit to Disney, and it's like, you know what, we got your number, we got your name, we got your badge, we got your ass, we're gonna kill you off in this movie. Who knows, that could happen. But I don't know. And we had the idea of Chris Pratt saying he wanted to come back, even if it's a multiverse thing, you know, he doesn't mind variations, etc. So I think if he's like very enthusiastic, there could be more on the table for Star-Lord. Like, it doesn't mean that Star-Lord has to stop, or the Guardians probably all won't be slaughtered, and they could show up in like supplemental media. I just don't think that James Gunn is gonna direct another Guardians movie. I don't know. I think he's gonna be mingling and chilling with DC. Let's move on to the next one. What do we have here as we go along? This is fun. Loki season 2. Again, the ties of this is going to be the multiversal war. It's going to be more of that. Probably more of Loki. I don't know if he's going to reel, you know, Sylvie and some more, and more of their journeys together, because I have not seen the full show of season 1, so I got to get on that because I am lagging behind. But I do know about the multiversal war, and I do know this is where Kang originated. I don't know if they're gonna show more of his variation, you know, the goofy one, but they very well could. The Marvels, man, isn't this gonna be like a musical? Like, they said, hey, these motherfuckers are gonna be on like stage dancing. No, I heard it's like a planet where everyone rhymes apparently, and that's probably gonna factor in from the comic to this movie. This movie is the trinity of Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and Rambeau, Monica Rambeau, I believe. The only thing I can think of for the Marvels that might intersect is the idea of teaming up. It seems to be some sort of connection between them, as we saw in the ending of Captain Marvel, where she, well, not Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, where she transported, Captain Marvel transported, they swapped places. You're getting me fucking confused, but they swapped places, and she had that purple on her fingers from Miss Marvel, so it's kind of weird. And I don't think her arc is going to progress further, I'm talking about Captain Marvel here, until we finally do get to X-Men, and I think there will be some fascinating characters or some soul suckers that will lend some credence to the fact that they can fly and steal mutant abilities and all that stuff. I think that is going to happen still in the timeline with Rogue sucking out Bree's powers. Anyway, that's like way into the future. Don't worry about that. don't even sweat it there. What do we have on the docket next? You know what? Ironheart, or because Ironheart is easy. Just if Riri is good in, what is it? I think it's Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, because she's like sort of having her arc and moment there, which I assume will lead her to using the vibranium tech to create her own Stark suit, and that might get fleshed out over time. She might get some schematics, meet some characters over there that will send her the right way to Stark Industries. Maybe that could happen. That'd be nice. You know, I know Tony's dead and they can't meet. I have no idea. Like, for Ironheart, I just wanted her to meet Tony, and that's it. Like, now it's just gonna be her being influenced by him, and I guess, I don't know. Since the timeline reset happened, well, not timeline reset, I don't know why I'm saying timeline reset. You're gonna get me getting several things like off base here since it's off the cuff. Brain swap with Peter, like the weird thing where they decided to use the spell and get rid of his identity as Spider-Man. She can't even interact with him because she doesn't know who Spider-Man is. Therefore, like, it's not protege and protege anymore. So they're really gonna have to build on this character without her Iron Man origins. I don't know, maybe they could say that in the past Stark like met her dad or something, or her parents, or her in general, and because they had such a positive influence, they could focus on that. I know it's a flashback, but it's the only way they could interweave their relationship, and then she feels devastated when he finally dies. That's what I want for Ironheart. Like, do some sort of flashback of that where it makes sense. Throw money at Robert Downey Jr. I mean, fucking just do it and make that happen and make that a reality. That's all I want for Ironheart. I want some interaction between those two, and even if, you know, Tony never brought it up, just write it in a way where it makes sense. Next is Blade, and Blade's very standardized for how it fits in. I think number one, they obviously have to handle the Black Knight situation. I forget that line. You think you can handle that, Mr. Whitman? Dane Whitman from Eternals is probably going to be in there, and I think they're going to be talking about the Ebony Blade. There are moments in the comics where Blade gets his hands on that, so obviously those supernatural elements, and the fact that, you know, rumors are saying Anthony Starr might be Dracula, it would be a perfect opportunity to make a better Dracula than Blade Trinity, because Drake was trash. I'm not gonna lie, he was some pure dog water. So you have the opportunity to use a great actor that could be Dracula, that could play in numerous Blade movies. Maybe have, like, do something original, like maybe Blade loses this time around and the second or third movie is like him picking up the pieces. That's what I want to see, how all the supernatural constructs formulate, from the Ebony Blade to the vampires present to supernatural entities at bay. You know, that's what I need to see the most. I didn't bring up Echo, sorry about that. I did not bring that up. They are also saying that show is going to be supernatural, focused on Maya. I think the main attraction is them teasing a lot of Daredevil and Kingpin. Those two are going to be in this show, which leads all the way down in the timeline to Daredevil Born Again. This is going to be the culmination of all that, but they got 18 episodes. They cannot fuck this up. They can't fuck it up. They can't. Make it TVMA. Make these episodes fucking 18 hours long. Do what you have to do. But I think, personally, in the fan spectrum of things, Daredevil Born Again is going to be the most judged MCU TV show of all time. I'm sorry, but it is. It's unfortunate. I'm going to go in with an open mind, because that's how I do things. That's how I roll. I don't believe in hearsay. I don't believe in word of mouth until I actually try it myself. But this show is going to be the most heavily judged show since Moon Knight, and that's saying something. People are going to have the previous Netflix Daredevil on such a high pedestal, and it deserves to be, and then they're gonna needlessly compare it to this. It's gonna be endless. It's gonna be pandemonium if this show is even remotely not on par to Daredevil season 2, because season 2, you know, it had that short drop of quality once Punisher left the building, and then we had to focus on Elektra doing Elektra things, and it got like slightly a little mid. Still entertaining, but there was that small quality drop off, and then when Punisher was focused on in the prison, it started to pick back up again and say, hey, let's go. This guy's putting like brooms through like people's fucking chests and shit. That's like fantastic. I love that right there. Yeah, they just need to make the proper steps, and I think, I don't know, it's gonna be a street level show, so do you have like a lot of cameos? Maybe like a few smiles on the face, you know what I mean? Like I would love it if Tom Holland showed up like for one episode and him and Daredevil just started kicking fucking ass, you know what I mean? That'd be like, ooh yeah baby, look at my ideas, I'm on fire tonight. That'd be incredible. I need that in my life. Otherwise, I need this show to have the dark, twisted elements, and I want this to be a continuation of Daredevil season 3. There's the idea that Wilson Bethel, or the guy who played Bullseye, got his back fucking snapped in half like a twig. We would need to presume that, you know, is Mahoney coming back? Is Poindexter coming back because his back was snapped? Is he gonna have the vibranium like skeleton now, or is it adamantium? Are they gonna go that route with no X-Men? I don't know if they can. I have no idea. Like, fix all that stuff up and then bring these interesting deep characters and keep the complexity going. I think that's the main thing with Daredevil. And if they decide to continue onward, could they bring in people like Bernthal, etc.? We'll talk more about Bernthal later. Last is, well, the last two, Agatha. I have no idea. I said mostly it's just gonna be Coven, witchcraft, chaos, and that's it. I don't have anything else more to say about where her character is gonna go. Obviously it's been criticized. I think people said that they think her show is filler without Scarlet Witch. I don't know, it remains to be seen. Let's see what she cooks up. She could cook up something crazy, like, I don't know, remember the White Vision? Like, maybe they could not only explain him, but it could be some Agatha twisted Coven version of Wanda. You know, they could do something like that where it's like absolutely batshit insane. I don't know, I'm just like spitballing on that one. At first I thought that Captain America New World Order would just be simply a standalone movie. It would be their sort of take on what would an Anthony Mackie Winter Soldier type of movie be like if they decided to take it serious, take it in strides, and make it a complete crazy mission, right? Then I started thinking, like, there were some theories that were given on YouTube that I agree with. What if, because remember, New World Order still takes place in the multiverse, what if Mackie gets like sucked through the quantum realm or something like that, and then all of a sudden he's dropped into a world where Hydra has taken over. Hydra is running the show and everyone is enslaved, and hell, Hydra is everywhere, and he has to deal with this new world under complete enslavement. That would be nuts. That would be crazy. Like, how would he deal with that Hydra is the ones that finally won this time, and they're trying to contain or build up their own Captain America? That would be a great multiverse story if he could find new people along the way, find resistance fighters, and they could help go against the establishment. And that would be the entire movie, where the world is against Captain America and nobody believes him, and it's all Hydra like plants, Hydra influenced. Well, that would be nuts, right? Like, I would like that idea actually. Since it still is in the multiverse, it could make sense. Then we're gonna go to the shorter phase, which they haven't revealed everything. I will be making a video on it, don't worry. But as we can see, we spot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 empty slots for Disney TV and MCU sort of like shows and fucking movies in the middle, and they're all blank, and I don't expect them to be filled in until D23. that is next month. We don't have to wait any longer. I will be talking about that. We see Fantastic Four is on the slate November 8th, from what that appears to be 2024. This is okay, so they're gonna clearly set up Fantastic Four big time in the next phase. Therefore, these people are gonna start getting casted. They're gonna start, becoming known to the public. It's only a matter of time. They're gonna set up the first family as the next heroes of the MCU. And they have to, because Fantastic Four ties into Kang Dynasty. If you are unaware, remember that Reed Richards is related to Kang. He is more or less a descendant of Nathaniel Richards, which is Kang the Conqueror's real name. So that meeting alone, that information is going to be very pivotal when it comes to Kang Dynasty and Reed discovering that for the first time in history, and how the first family and everyone else in the Avengers will react to all the variants going loco. The strongest variants probably coming into one place. Think of it as Agent Smith from The Matrix Reloaded, where it's clones everywhere, some stronger than others, some stupider than others. That's what Kang Dynasty is going to focus around, a complete dynasty of this man conquering shit up, and I cannot wait for it. I do think that there will be some method of stopping him, because the next movie is going to be Secret Wars, and I don't think he's going to be as strong as he used to be if they're introducing also Doctor Doom. He has to come in the picture. The Laverian King, he has to come into the picture eventually. So he's gonna get, I'm talking about Kang here. Kang's gonna get stopped in Dynasty, and then Secret Wars is gonna be all about how they decide to rewrite history and establish either older characters or new characters, and write off characters or stop scripts for certain actors who have fulfilled their contracts entirely, because they have the ability to use Secret Wars to overwrite a universe and continue onward anew with variation characters overriding that mindset. So a good example was they could bring in Miles Morales, and if this was Tom Holland's last movie with the black suit, he could be done right here. Secret Wars, that could be it. This is the movie where they can use a multiverse to continue main canon, and I think for several characters they're gonna do that for Secret Wars. I do think though that because the MCU likes to rewrite, reboot, and do their own continuity, it still should be a character piece about Reed and Doctor Doom, and how all of this destruction and chaos and wondering about each other's ideals will be pertinent to this particular plot line. Also, one thing I failed to mention is that Fantastic Four itself will not be an origin story anymore. It will be something that jumps ahead a little bit in time. Now, I don't know, I feel mixed on this. On the one hand, a lot of people might not know about the original backstory for the first family, but case in point, to keep it simple, they go to a space expedition, they get radiated, and therefore they get all these amazing powers. Ben Grimm turns into a rock man. Mr. Fantastic gets a little stretchy. Sue Storm turns invisible and can make shields, and Johnny Storm can set himself ablaze, and he can do infernos and supernovas. It's crazy. I do think that it's so simple that you don't need to retouch it, but I do hope maybe they can make it like a horror scene where they get radiated and it's like a flashback or something, but it's scary, right? And that would be cool, like a very scary flashback of them mutating. I don't know if they're gonna do it because PG-13, but I mean, if fucking in Fan 4 stick, like Doctor Doom could blow up people's heads, then you could make this like a sort of body horror scene, in a fucking superhero movie. That would be something different, right? I think the establishment is definitely there. What you're going to be looking at in Fantastic Four is the movie having some quality control over all the other ones in the past, this has to be the best one. No doubt. They have to make this a movie that is great, because I think if it's anything lesser than, it's like, what is the point? We had all these mid or terrible Fantastic Four movies. Like, what is the point of this one in particular, just to set up something? So this is going to be also looked at to really ascend what the quality of a Fantastic Four movie could be. And I think it all rests on the director, the screenwriting, and the cast. Definitely the cast, because this is a very tight-knit, eccentric family, and they need to nail that part right out of the box. All right, so that's the end of phase 6 and phase 5. Until it's filled in, I can't tell you much about phase 6, other than the fact that 2 Avengers movies coming out on the same year is insanity, and we don't know what else is left. We don't. Now there is a few lingering topics that came out, and I guess since we talked about Kang Dynasty, we will talk about the fact that Destin Daniel Cretton is the director for Kang Dynasty. He's the guy who did Shang-Chi. Now, one thing people aren't well aware of, they're saying all the fight sequences are going to be super lit and cool and all that, but I have some unfortunate news to tell you. The guy who fight coordinated Shang-Chi unfortunately passed away. This is something I did not know. This is something that I found out like super later, and my condolences to his family, friends, and loved ones. But if they're going to do Shang-Chi level fight sequences, they would have to get someone else, and that's just sad. It's just sad at the end of the day, but I'm happy for the director. I never saw Shang-Chi in its entirety, but I do plan to review it for the channel and tell you what I think of it, how I think of it. I love kung fu movies, so this sort of aesthetic is right up my alley, and they're supposedly working on a sequel, so I assume the best course of action would be to get Shang-Chi and Iron Fist sort of together in a sense. I did see that I forget his name, Finn Jones, he was training, doing the weights, and some people speculated that he might be coming back for Iron Fist, because he can come back if they own the character and they decide, hey, we want to take Iron Fist and make him better. But you know what I want? I want Finn Jones and I want Mike Poulter in the show, Heroes for Hire. Do that. Come on. Give me what I want, because those two work together so well with Iron Fist and Luke Cage that one episode where like Iron Fist showed up in Luke Cage season 2, I believe, that was awesome. Like that was so well done, and just a show between those two would kill it, because they have the chemistry. The actors and the characters bounce off each other like a drum and some chocolate. I don't know where I was going with that, but they do. They're really good. Good job to Destin for getting Kang Dynasty, and they want to have a separate director for Secret Wars. That makes sense, because like I said in the last update, they decided not to go with the Russos this time around. This means that fresh blood can hop in there and do their thing with like a big Avengers movie, and that would be substantial money and credits and moolah for them. Oh my god, I'm on to something else like super funny. It's a question, but I was gonna do a separate video, but I'm like, maybe I'll put it on the podcast, because a podcast is a great way to freely express my opinion. Does Kevin Feige hate the Inhumans? Now, the evidence of this is the fact that not only is Ms. Marvel a mutant now, which apparently, you know, Inhumans and mutations aren't really too far from the tree. It's just one is done by the Terrigen Mist and the other one is DNA based, but you know, it's very close. Does Kevin Feige hate the Inhumans? He changed up Ms. Marvel's origins. I just think that Feige likes X-Men more. Like, I don't think he hates anything, just he's a bigger fan of X-Men. He's eager to put his hat in the ring. Let's say hat, ironically, a Kevin Feige hat. He wants to put his hat in the ring for X-Men. He wants to get that done as soon as possible. In interviews, he's very eager to do that. The X-Men is a bigger brand name than the Inhumans. I'm sorry, Inhumans fans, it is what it is. The X-Men is just on another level with characters, more memorable stuff, storylines. I'm sorry, it's true. You can make comic lines of the Inhumans versus the X-Men. You can have the Inhumans win that, but the X-Men still will reign in popularity. That's how it is. I don't hate the Inhumans. I think they could do something with them. I do think that Ike Perlmutter kind of tried to dump that movie on Feige's lap, saying, hey, you know, I'm a big business bigwig. How about I just come in your office and shit on your desk and say, hey, I want you to do an Inhumans movie and fuck up your entire slate. He didn't want to do it. Inhumans got dumped on ABC. It turned out to be trash. Then Black Bolt got his head rearranged in Multiverse of Madness. Again, Sam Raimi just probably had input on that. It probably was like, hey, we got studio mandate characters that need to show up in this one scene with the Illuminati and tie in the Multiverse of Madness tagline. How do we do that? And Sam Raimi's like, fuck it, kill him. And that's what he did. Black Bolt got his head like decimated. Again, though, I don't know. Anson Mount is keeping hush on the fact, is he gonna come back or not? Same for John Krasinski as Reed Richards. So we don't know. The future is uncertain. It would be nice if he did an Inhumans movie, because that would be a big fuck you to Ike Perlmutter, who once again dumped that all on his lap. He could rejuvenate that and make that into something different, and then they could have that crossover with other characters as well. Black Bolt is cool. I like him. Therefore, I don't think he hates them. I just think that he wants to do X-Men stuff first, and then maybe the Inhumans could come down the line. I think it would be a nice Disney Plus show if they decided to do it. Oh, the big one. No X-Men until 2025. There was contract negotiations for some of the actors. I think Storm's actor in Fox was laughing, oh, you can't replace us, ha ha ha, and nobody knew what that meant. Now we are getting a clearer picture. She is making fun of the fact that their contracts were extended all the way till 2025. Therefore, it is a possibility that Feige cannot use the X-Men until then. I think it all makes sense. There were some better theories out there than I could give you. I just know that the Storm laughing on Twitter, the actress, that was one of the big indicators. And it kind of, if it's true, it kind of came back to bite them in the ass, even if they bought Fox, because they still have to wait to use the X-Men properties. And then there's still movies that could benefit from that. Like Deadpool 3, like where is that? And does that mean that if this is true, there's gonna be like no X-Men in Deadpool 3 when, you know, you had characters like Domino and other X-Men showing up, Juggernaut? How is that gonna work? I guess they could do something where it's like, oh, we're gonna replace all the X-Men that Deadpool knew, drop them in the multiverse, and then fucking say, hey, he can lollygag around with the Marvel characters and do vulgar stuff just because. I think that's what they might do. It sucks for all parties involved. I would like to see them sooner, but at least by the time we see them, we might get not only a multiverse canon into main canon reset, but we have the opportunity to finally flesh out Dark Phoenix with the Phoenix Saga, because they don't need to rush it. Therefore, I would be a happy man to not have that movie butchered. Thank you. Next up is this goes into leak territory, so I might be, you know, spoiling some stuff for people, so keep that in mind. But there are leakers saying that John Bernthal might be a lock for Punisher to return, and I said this earlier. I think that would be great. You can't just simply hire Charlie Cox, D'Onofrio, etc., and not hire Bernthal, who literally said, like, John Bernthal has said on record he's not playing any other superhero characters in Marvel outside of the Punisher. With dedication like that, you have to give him a job. It's just, and if you recast him, I think people are just going to be mad, right? Because I think if that happened to Charlie, people would just be, they'd just be like super pissed. So you just can't, it's just one of those things where you can't do it. And if you do, the actor has to slap, but you already have a guy here that is telling you, I'm dedicated until like a certain amount of time, and I will be Punisher whenever, and I don't care about playing as any other Marvel comic book character whatsoever. I want to be Punisher. So hire him, make the show again. 18 episodes, TVMA, IBN. Next up is John Walker's actor wants to return to Thunderbolts. I don't think I talked about Thunderbolts either. I'm glad it came up. It's not much to say. I just think that's going to be MCU's Suicide Squad. Yeah, what is this? Some kind of Marvel Cinematic Universe Suicide Squad? I just think that movie's going to be that in thematics and theme, and Zemo wants to join in on the party, and John Walker's going to be in there from Falcon and Winter Soldier. I like this character. That'll be good. US Agent being this crazy anti-hero, that could work for him. Like nothing much to say about Thunderbolts in that sort of like slot, other than the fact that it's going to focus on villains being who they are. I got two more left. They changed Namor's origins, and people complained about it, from Atlantean to Talakan. What do I think about this? It's short and simple. I think there would be people that would be dumb, and they would immediately think, oh, Namor is Aquaman. Namor is Aquaman. Look at that. It's Aquaman stuff. Now, clearly there's some inspiration there, but I think it's fine, because now changing his origin and heritage and getting rid of Atlantis means that people can't make those comparisons anymore. Therefore, it seems like it's kind of new. It has a small, fresh coat of paint, and that's fine. It's the same thing I think about when I think about how they changed Shazam's name from Captain Marvel to Shazam. You know, the less people see these names and make these like dumb comparisons, the better. And it gives these characters a time to grow and become their own, as opposed to having like similar origins. So I'm fine with it. Last but not least, Spider-Man freshman year will not be canon to the main MCU, thank God, because Norman Osborn showing up out of nowhere and Peter like not saying, who are you? You know, when he saw him with Raimiverse, you know, the Raimiverse one, it makes sense for them to not put him in there as main canon, because it wouldn't fly, man. Like, I think if they did that for that animated show, No Way Home would be ruined completely. Like, how would it make sense? Like, you got Dr. Octopus, you got Norman Osborn, you got Harry Osborn, all these people Peter has seen before he saw the variants. So I don't get it. Like, he would be cracking jokes, like having some sort of familiarity with them, and he didn't do it in No Way Home because he just saw those people. So I'm glad for this change. Honestly, it was for the better. It was for the best. They needed to clarify. They needed to make this a multiverse thing, and I'm fine with it. I still want to see the story, and it makes sense. Now, that's it. I think that's it. All the news that I fucking all the news that I covered from San Diego Comic-Con, and clarifying and following up and talking about how some things might twist into each other. It's still a lot to take in so far. So I cannot wait. I guess the last thing I'll say about Secret Wars is, man, that's gonna be fucking amazing. They could take that and make it so epic that I guess people will be looking at those two movies like Infinity War and Endgame. There's no way. There's no other way. That will be the Infinity War and Endgame of that particular slot. And if it's that good, I'm all for it. Until then, I am Renegade Operative. I am signing out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one-man podcast, doing it all on the muscle, on the strength of my brain. You can check me out on social media below, Discords, geek culture, horror Discords, all that stuff. I got it all just for you guys. And you can follow me on social media in the links below. And if you enjoyed this podcast, give a thumbs up. Let me know you like it. Tell me in the comment section, what do you think about this news? And I will see you guys next time. Later.